I am one of the presenters. I'm the IT coach for the Columbus West area elementary schools. And then Jordana is a coach for Buchanan High School. So we'll go ahead and get started. And basically, I'm going to be talking to you about DocHub. This is an app that you can use with your students. They have access to it right now. You may not have known that. And it's easy for them to get to anytime you're using a PDF with them in a lesson. And this has kind of been a topic that's come up a fair amount since we've been in this learning environment. So when you are using the free version of DocHub, your students are going to have access to 2,000 pages. So some of you might think, wow, that's really a lot. I don't know, but that's how many pages they have access to before they max out. And then you can see the upload size. So you're not going to be, uploading a whole novel basically when you're using pages with your students. To get started, and I'll put this in present mode for just a few moments, and then I'm going to kind of switch back and forth as we work with the tools onto an actual PDF so that you can see what that looks like. But I think that it's pretty easy and user-friendly with your students to use. I've gone down, I think the lowest grade that I have personally worked with is 4th grade, and it's manageable for them to use. And I know that that goes well up into secondary, and then the use is kind of, a change, obviously. So when you're going to use a PDF and you're going to use DocHub and you're going to assign it to your students and you're wanting them to edit a PDF, you're going to want to make sure that you save that PDF to your Google Drive. And then when you go to Google Classroom, I'm going to make an assumption that you're using Google Classroom with your students. You'll go ahead and go to Google Classroom. And when you create your assignment, you're going to want to make sure that you make a copy for each student. That's really important. Okay, so you're going to make a copy for each student, go ahead and assign it. And then we'll talk about when your students get to their Google Classroom, what exactly that's going to look like for them as far as workflow from how they get the assignment from their drive to you and turn it in. So how do you launch DocHub? Once you get your assignment, or if you are personally working in your Google Drive and you want to use DocHub with a PDF, what you're going to do is go ahead and open it. And we all know that when you click on a PDF in your Google Drive, it's going to have this black screen behind it. This is going to be the view that you have. And so then up at the top of your screen, you're going to see that it says Open With, and you're going to want to click that. And students and teachers alike are actually going to already have DocHub in that drop-down menu that appears. And so when you see DocHub, all you're going to do is simply go ahead and click that app, and it's going to open your PDF in that application in DocHub. So when that opens, this is going to be the view that you get. And this was just a quiz that was from iReady. So I kind of loaded this on here so we could kind of take a look at it. But this is going to be what you'll see with any PDF that you load in DocHub. And I did put a red X on here because we're not going to save the PDFs that we're working with in DocHub. So we'll talk about what you are going to do with it shortly. But notice here that you have all of your tools that you're able to use with DocHub are always going to be populated at the top. So you're going to have a menu in that location. And so if I was looking at this, we're just going to kind of go through those tools so that you can see what is available to you. And this is all for the free version, so you have access to all of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and click out of here, and I want to go ahead and open this. I made kind of a little page that I could show you the tools on that would kind of make sense where you might want to use them. So this is going to be what actually happens. It's going to load the document. You're going to see it here. And then I see that I have all of my menus tools up here at the top. So if I was going to add a text box, so if I'm working with text and I want students to be able to take notes on a PDF, if I click this A here, you're going to notice that my cursor turned into a little plus sign with an A. And you've got a couple of different options with making text boxes. Notice up here at the top, you can change the size. You've got some formatting choices. With the free version, you just have 3 font choices here. To me, for this kind of an assignment, that's not a big deal. You can change the text color as well, so that then maybe it's going to be easier for your students to see the text, or maybe you're having them, I don't know, use green text for particular things that you're wanting them to accomplish. So once you have that set, if you want to draw a text box, you can, and then you can have them go ahead and type in the text box. You also could just click and begin typing. Okay, couple of different things here. If I just start typing, it will just continue to run off of the page until I click enter and make it come back down to a new line. You can resize it, of course, but just otherwise you can draw a text box and the text will fill that text box instead. So just a couple of things to kind of keep in mind with that. So you might tell students that you want them to, draw a text box and they're going to write a few sentences about whatever it is that they're doing. Another thing that you're going to want to make sure you pay attention to is if you don't click the pointer up here, you're going to keep drawing text boxes all over your page. So please make sure that when you are done with the tool that you click the pointer, and that might seem kind of, I don't know, sometimes I forget and then I'm making text boxes or arrows or whatever it is as I start to move on. If you want to move a text box, that's what that little grid is for, to drag. You can trash it, and then resizing your text boxes is just that one little dot here. So just some little things to kind of play with. It's not difficult. I think it's very manageable for students to use, but that would be your text boxes. Any questions about that? No? Okay. The next feature that I wanted to show you, you have the ability to use stamps with your in DocHub. So if I wanted to see the kinds of stamps I have, we don't have customized, that would be a premium feature, but this could be kind of handy if you're wanting students even to do a test on a PDF. They can use a check mark and you could put a check mark, okay? So you have that option to you. You could also have them circle, or you could use it more creatively as well. You're able to change the color if you'd like. So stamps can come in handy creatively, but they can also be an academic, easier option for your students to use as well. Additionally, beyond your stamps, you have the ability to add shapes. So if I click here, I have a shape menu that's going to drop down. If I wanted to draw an arrow, okay, if I'm wanting to point to something that I want my students to look at, I'm able to draw shapes. And if I move down here, one thing I was going to show you, you also could have students do freehand. So in this case, since this was a PDF and students are going to be doing this with math, I could have them do freehand. They could choose a color and they could actually draw on the shapes as well. So that might be something that you want to use. Excuse my lines, they're not very good. But anyway, so you have a draw tool, you have shapes, you have stamps, you're able to add text. You are also able to highlight. So if I was coming down here to this little section, if you are wanting to highlight text, again, you have a highlight tool here. And I don't think we can choose, yeah, these are locked. I always want to click that and I always remind myself that yes, it's locked. You can change your highlighting color. Highlighting, I think, is pretty easy in DocHub because you just are going to drag it, almost draws just a little rectangle. I don't know, some websites are almost as like a marker pen, and I think it's kind of tricky for students, but this almost acts just like a shape, and then it's actually a highlighter. So this could be one thing that you might want to use with your students. I think that's super handy And I like that you have the ability to use different colors for highlighting various types of tests, main idea versus key details versus nouns, if we're looking for verbs, whatever that may be with your students. Another thing that you're able to do, if you want your students to add pictures to a document, yes, you can. So maybe my students don't really know what this kind of cloud is because this is pulled from an article about wildfires in Australia. And so I had actually typed that, into search bar so that students could actually see an image of what I'm talking about here. And so maybe I want to add a picture so I can remind myself visually what this is. If I right click here, I can copy this image and I can add this to my document. So whether and then I can drag this around, I can draw arrows, maybe circle the words, whatever it is that I want to do. But I know that a lot of students are very visual learners. And so when you're talking about certain vocabulary, such as this might be helpful to go, oh yeah, that's what that is, as they're moving through text. So these are some of the features. You do have the ability to create text box or comments for your students. If you want to leave them comments about whatever it is that they're doing, yes, you can do that as well. Any questions about this so far? Okay, one thing I did want to just click back over to this the training deck here. Right now, let me see here, scroll down here. DocHub does not have the ability to, they don't have a text-to-speech application built into DocHub. However, if you need text-to-speech for some of your students, you can use the Chrome extension Read Aloud. And I put just the picture, you just would go to the Chrome web store and add this in. The directions for how to use it are here, but super simple. And I was playing with it just to make sure that it would in fact work when you have a PDF in the DocHub, when you have it actually in the editor, and it will absolutely read that text for you. And so I had one here just so you could kind of see what that would look like. The only thing I don't love is that it doesn't highlight the words on the actual document. But so if the students were going to, so if I have this up here, let me just show you. There's a little megaphone up in my extensions. And so then it would be reading. And I don't know if I checked share my computer sound, so you may not have heard that, but that's what the box looks like. And then you can forward through that. But I did put directions on there. If you think that that is something that some of your students are going to need, this could be something that you could use with your students. Okay, so if I go back here and I'm ready to actually export. So let's just say I'm done working for the day on this document that I'm using. What I wanted you to notice is up here at the top, there is a little download icon up here, and this is where you and students are both going to go once you're finished. So when I click this, this is going to be the box that pops up. And what you're going to want to do, and students are going to want to do this too, is they're going to want to make sure they click Google Drive, okay? And then once they do that, they're going to make sure it says update existing with revision, okay? So they're going to save what they've done to this document, and then they're going to click export to, okay? So now all of these changes have been added to that PDF, and now it's saved in Google Drive. Okay. For me, whatever folder I open the PDF in, that's where I'm going to find my my changes and edits that I've made or annotations that I've made on my PDF. For students, it's going to actually be in their class drive folder in that assigned. That's where they're going to find it. If they need to go access it in Google Drive, they're going to try to access it that way. I recommend they just go to Google Classroom and just go that way. But if you're not using Classroom, wherever it is in Drive, which for them would be that Classroom folder, that's where they're going to be going to get it. So then I would go ahead and just click OK. And then I would go ahead and leave it. So if students are completely, and I just put steps here on the slide deck to show you, if students are finished working with the assignment, then they're just going to simply turn it in Google Classroom. If they're not finished, what they're going to do is go right back, and I put on this slide here, I put a link. If you want to send directions to your students for what that would look like for them in Google Classroom and how they would access, I have the link here for them as well. And that page looks, oops, that's the wrong one. That one is the read aloud. I made this page for students because a few were kind of getting a little bit, my little ones got confused on where to go. So it just kind of walks through how they're going to access in Google Classroom. And then once they're finished with the assignment, it tells them to click the little icon here, export to Drive. And then if you come down here, once they're finished, they have to go back to Google Classroom, and then they're just going to turn in the assignment to you. So from your view as a teacher, when you go to review their assignments in Google Classroom, you'll be able to see the you're going to be able to see, their work as you would with any assignment that they complete. So pretty much that kind of takes us through most of it. We finished a little bit earlier. Are there any questions on how you would be using DocHub with your students? Not really. I think it's pretty basic. I think it's pretty simple for students. And the nice thing is that it's built in. Every student has it, elementary through secondary. They have it available to them to use. Okay. All right. So Jordana, if you would like to, I'll switch over. I'm going to stop my share. And oops. Then I will, do I need to do anything else? Because you're already a co-host, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so you're set. Yeah, so now you can just open up.
Yep, we're all good. Can everyone see my, everyone can see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Kami is actually very similar, and I'm going to show you guys the free version of Kami today, just to keep it equal. The free version allows you to edit over anything. So it's a little bit different than DocHub in the sense of like you are using a Kami platform through a Chrome extension. So your students will open it up, it'll be there in their extension, and they can sign in using Google and all of that. But then for you as the teacher, Kami is going to convert all of your Word documents, PDFs, or PowerPoints to be compatible with Kami, which is really nice. So the age of conversion is over when using different platforms. So that is nice in the sense of like you're using Kami's platform, whereas DocHub's kind of built in to Google. Kami is its own extension. So the first step is that you have to download the Kami extension. And on this slide deck, this is actually a hyperlink to take you guys directly to the Chrome web store. And I have detailed instructions and videos that I've created at the end of our slide deck showing you how to do this. I'm going to walk you through it right now, but just in case you forgot or you didn't remember where to pin it, don't worry about it. So if you come here, we already have the Chrome extension. So it would say add to Chrome if you don't already have it. And then you'll notice my Kami extension's right here at the right. But if yours doesn't show up, you'll go to the puzzle piece. And then you'll come down here and you just want to make sure that it's pinned. So my Kami extension, when it's pinned, it's blue. So right now you'll notice it disappeared from my taskbar. But if I pin it to be blue, it's right there. So that is the first and really one of the most important steps with Kami, that you get that Chrome extension. Then from there, after you add that extension and that pop-up appears, you are able to access Kami at all times from, sorry, this taskbar is throwing me all off. Does it black out anything for you guys? Okay. So what it's doing is it's just going to always be there, and you're always going to work from this little Chrome extension icon. And that's where it's different from DocHub. And you are going to create a Kami account the first time you go in. Just log in with Google, use your long clovisusd.k12.ca.us email, and then it's going to prompt you for all these little questions. Again, you're only going to have to do this once. So just choose that you're a K-12 school, you're a teacher, and it's going to ask you about a learning management system. Say, I am using one, and then say Google Classroom. Even though Google Classroom is not a true LMS, for Kami it is. On the premium version of Kami, there is a huge Google Classroom integration, which is great. We'll talk about it a little, but it's not included in the free version. So as you create your account, do it this way, and then you're going to launch Kami by clicking that little icon. And so I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to get out of the side deck just like Courtney did for a little bit and show you Kami from the icon. So whenever you go to launch Kami, you're going to come here to your Chrome extension and open it, and it will always bring you to this same page. Now, what Kami does is it allows you to upload files directly to Kami. Think of it like a whiteboard almost, from your Google Drive or from your computer, or you can just create a blank page. This create a Google Classroom assignment. When you don't have a premium account, it won't allow you to do this. It says upgrade to the teacher plan. So what the premium account allows you to do is really the biggest thing is obviously it'll unlock a lot of tools, but it allows you to assign assignments to Google Classroom directly from Kami. And then vice versa, you can assign an assignment in Google Classroom to Kami, but that is only for the premium version. So for today, we're going to skip over all that. So when you can open a file from Google Drive, it's going to automatically open your drive because you signed in with your Google account, and then you have access to all of this right here. This is a Math 2 Unit 3 notes. So this, if you notice, is a PowerPoint. Right in my drive, it's what I've been using, say like I lecture with the PowerPoint. I can select it, and then what Kami is going to do is it's going to automatically just put it in here, and you have the ability to scroll through. It converted a PowerPoint to be like legible, and now both me and my students can work on this. As the teacher, you can just work on it directly. If you notice over here, all of these little locked options are for the premium account. So if you got a premium account, they would be unlocked, but really this is super powerful, and you can do a lot without the premium account because you still have the markup, comment, and text box tool and a drawing tool. And so when you do it this way, like it's still really powerful. Coming back over here before we start playing around with those tools, if you go to Kami again, and then you upload from your computer, this is anything on your computer, you can access any of those files. And so coming over here, we'll look at a PDF. So this assignment, this PDF comes here, and it's going to just automatically convert it for you. And then again, you can do the same thing in this PDF that you could do on this PowerPoint because Kami is converting it. And then the last thing I'll show you before we dig into the tools is the blank page. Kami allows you to have a blank page, which is going to be like a whiteboard, and you can design anything you want on it, or it could be a lined page like writing, or it could be a grid page, which is grid lines. But the cool thing I think is for anyone with a musical background, it has a music sheet. And so that it's just a cool feature of Kami. But for the sake of this, we'll say it's a blank page, and we can just add our blank page, and then it's just your own canvas. As a teacher, you are able to, like Courtney was saying, the text boxes are really great, and you could just choose your text box and you can adjust it any way you want. And then you'll notice this toolbar came up here with all of these different features. And so you get to create whatever you need to create on Kami, which I really like. Coming back over here to these math notes, the select button, just like Courtney said for DocHub, anytime that you want to unclick a tool, you're just going to click that select cursor at the top left. That's the first tool that we'll look at. And then there's a markup tool right here that is unlocked, and it's going to act as like a highlighter. And so we can just highlight certain text right here if we wanted to. But then what also happens is this little box highlighter is if something is not a text on Kami, it's not recognizing the text, you can do this box highlighter, and it's kind of like a text box in the sense that you can just drag it and like drop it right there. And so if you're asking your students to highlight the angles, specific angles, they could just use that highlighting tool instead of the drawing tool. But they could use whatever they want, but this is this box highlighter that I like. So the commenting feature on Kami is really great. It is similar to that of DocHub. You can choose anywhere, and I could choose this text box, and then I can comment on it. And I can talk about the congruent triangles right here and go ahead and keep typing. Now, what it allows teachers to do is offer feedback, or a really cool thing would be if students were able to work on each other's, they could offer each other feedback using that comment feature. On the premium version, there are voice comments and video comments. So a student could leave a video comment of themselves recording, like talking about their assignment and explaining something. It's very kind of Flipgrid like. It's a cool premium feature. And then the voice comment would just be them talking. So those are cool premium features that are locked, obviously, for this, but I just wanted to touch on that for a second. The text box, just like Courtney was saying, you are able to it expands while you're writing, which is a really nice feature. This little red dot is for you to delete it. You can also expand it and go ahead and type what you need to type. And it is nice that it enters down, like Courtney was saying. I can write just like you would normally write. It's very intuitive in a Word document or whatever it may be. It's not very tricky, which I appreciate. And then coming down here is our drawing feature. And this is really a cool feature for students, because this is where Kami for me became super helpful. And just like DocHub, it's the ability to turn in like a math assignment or a music assignment that they need to draw. It's not just about typing. And so they can draw whatever they need to. They can write their equal sign. They can draw their different angles. It just allows them the ability to have total control over their assignment. And you'll notice the writing that I just did stays with the page. So you're able to scroll through, and then students can come down here and they can choose a different color. And students usually, they feel pretty familiar, like drawing for them. I found even with secondary, drawing is natural to them because they always have a device in their hand and they're really comfortable writing on their screens. And they either, like, if you'll notice, if you remember seeing students on a touch screen in a classroom, they're using the screen to write a lot on and scroll instead of a trackpad. And so I found that students use this drawing feature much more than a text box. And so if you do want them to use text boxes, just be explicit in your instructions, like Courtney was saying, like tell your students where you want them to place their text box, and and then they'll follow along accordingly. There are no stamps on this like DocHub, but there are shapes. And so you are able to insert a shape wherever you need to, and they can change colors as well. And so you can change the size right here. If you want it to be a little thicker, you can come over here, use a triangle, since we're using triangles on this assignment. And it's really cool right here for students when they're creating their shapes. You can see the different angles and how it expands. Just a little hack that I thought was neat. And so again, it stays there as you're moving along. And then this eraser allows you to erase anything that you've added to the document. So the eraser feature right here, I'm like, why did I put a circle? And it just erases that circle. So that is, I mean, we're flying through these trainings today. But what I wanted to show you guys from all of that were just like all those little features, because it's just really helpful to see really quick. But just like DocHub, they're really simple to use if you just know how to get there. And so for Kami, you just download the extension, sign in with Google. Your students will do the same thing. And then they only have to do it once, but you do all have to download the extension to Chrome. And so I'll show you those documents in a second down here. But just like DocHub, there's different ways to export the assignments. So you can download or export. So you can download the document to your computer. I would always tell students to download with annotations, because what's the point of using Kami or DocHub if you're not saving the work that you did on the document? So always right here, download with annotations, download all pages, and then they begin export. But for our classroom purposes, because if you are using the free version of Kami, I would always say to have your students export to Google Drive, because what it is going to do is make it easily accessible for a student to download to their drive. And then right here, they can save it in this select folder. They select the folder that it goes to on their specific Google Drive. They download all the pages, and then they're able to go to Google Classroom, add or create a new from their drive, and upload that assignment that they just did. So it's kind of the workaround. It doesn't have an integration to Google Classroom on the free version, but because you can save it to your drive, they can just upload it directly into Google Classroom from their drive, and it makes it really simple. So I would always say export to drive is the big moneymaker right there. Another really cool feature of Kami is that they are actually able to do Google sharing with Kami. So they could go to the shared documents and they can give people access just like you would on a Google Doc. So you can say, anyone with link can view their document, or if you want Kami to be used as a collaborative tool between students, and like I said, comment on each other's assignments, then you could say you could give editing privileges to whoever you share your link with. And so Kami creates a link right here, and then it can be copied, and the students can email it to you or post the link onto their assignment, comment the link if you want to do it that way. And so it's just another way to share documents through Kami. So that's kind of it. I'm going to show you these Kami resources that I've created for you. These are all just quick little 1-minute videos created by me. This is that reminder of how to install the Kami extension, and that I would share to your students and just remind them this is how I'm getting into Kami. And that's really easy. And if you need help with anything as you're doing this, you can always email me and I'll help you get your students set up. And then these are really cool 1-pagers and 2-pagers from Kami themselves. If you are like, I love Kami, I want to use it and get a premium version, you can obviously contact Kami and like sign up for that or talk to your school site. But this is a one-pager getting students on to Kami with Google Classroom. So that one-pager, I did want to leave it there for you, but it really is more for the premium usage of Google Classroom. And then this Kami YouTube channel, like literally, I think I learned Kami through this YouTube channel because they just, again, have so many really cool, quick videos, which if you're like me, like I just want to watch a video that's a minute and a half long. And usually if you come through this little YouTube channel, there are so many resources here for you to use. And then it's like Kami for English, Kami for math, Kami for history. And so it's just a really great tool and resource for you guys to have. So I linked all of that here for you.